Okay, we just take a look at the Britool Hallmark SR80 or SR180 should I say, 1/4 inch drive, as you can see there, extra long ratchet. You can see there the Britool Hallmark and the mark of skill, also the Britool Hallmark on the ratchet release button there. The actual drive itself, you can see the head. This is a regular Draper Expert 1/4 inch, and you can see the drive and the head mechanism. The size difference there, it's a really small one. Obviously that'll be a bit harder to reach and access areas, but also the reason why I picked this up, well, I keep my eye out for any Britool Hallmark pieces, but the reason why I picked this up obviously was the length. It was even though it's not that much longer really, you know, it was a longer one, and I thought it was there and it was Britool Expert, so I might as well make sure me longer ratchets are Britool if I can pick them up. Now I can't find much on the SR80. There is no made in England or the UK or anything like that on there, and I'm still a little bit out on a limb as to the Britool Hallmark company. Is it actually part of Facom, or is it a separate company now? I'm not sure. Facom obviously make the expert stuff that have now got the Stanley and the Britool logos on there, as well as maybe being distributed by Mac. But the Hallmark stuff I think might still be a separate entity. A lot of it is older, a lot of older Britool stock before Facom acquired Britool, and a lot of people are you know, selling off the lots of stocks, because Britool, this was like our tool truck brand here. This is, you know, a well highly respected brand here, has been for years. As you can see there, you've actually got two Phillips crosshead screws there, as opposed to the usual hex or Torx screws that you see on a lot of others. The reverse switch, I've noticed, does seem to move when the ratchet is in action. You can see then it's not because it's not locked down properly, that is locked down properly there. It's the same the other way as well. That's obviously a natural operating of this particular ratchet. You see it move the opposite direction as well. Now this is a very don't know if you can hear that here. It is a very fine thread on there, a fine tooth count on there. Now I'm not sure on the teeth just at the minute. It's actually very quiet here, which is what made me think you know, perhaps it was a slightly finer tooth. Okay, so the ratchet itself is actually 190mm long for improved leverage. It's got this, what they call a safety socket release, which is obviously the quick release. You can see there with the Britool Hallmark logo, which is the hex and pattern in there with the B on there. The tooth mechanism is actually 72 teeth, so it is finer than the Draper Expert one, which is a 45 tooth. Now, I noticed that a lot of the decent British, whether they're imports or not, a lot of the decent and restamped, a lot of the decent British brands tend to be quite low, or well, not low, but lower in the tooth range for their professional ratchets. Britool have been that way since the 80s, and they are, you know, a la carte snap-on basically over here. Although you can still get snap-on over here, Britool is, you know, like the, you know, the elite tall truck brand kind of thing, and has been for years. But I noticed with a lot of them, they do keep their tooth count to around 40. With a lot of the Britool stuff was around 40. Now a lot of the others are around 45. With a lot of the other companies now, a lot of the common is 72. This is 72, which makes me wonder. There's no made in Britain or anything like that, so it makes me wonder if this is this could actually might be a foreign one, the SR180, and they've stamped their you know, their label on there. It's a foreign mechanism, and they've fitted it to one of their or one of their imported bodies, because a lot of the foreign or the Taiwan ratchets seem to have this 72 teeth 5-degree arc, operation arc mechanism, and that's you know, it's kind of the 72 teeth thing kind of sets alarm bells off for me, because a lot, like I said before, a lot of them have lower 40, 45, 48. And then with the higher ones now going over the 120 and things teeth and things like that, the British ones seem to don't go no higher than 88. I think the Sealy, one of the Sealy ones was, or there was another one that was 80, and another one again that was could have been 90 something or other teeth. So they always tend to stay below the foreign ratchet's teeth. I think that's because of the strength. The strength is better with the thicker teeth than with the real tiny teeth on the 72 plus range. I don't think the British companies want a lot of their stuff coming back to them all chewed up and damaged every 5 minutes when they're selling what is supposedly, you know, an indestructible prestige product, if you like. So there kind of has to be something about that. You know, it's engineering 101 that that bigger gears are stronger. The teeth on the bigger gears are stronger than the smaller one. And again, it depends how many of those smaller teeth that you can lock into the other gear at once to kind of offset that, but 9 times out of 10 that the bigger gears are a lot stronger. But this does seem a nice enough ratchet. Now there's no quick lubrication holes like you get on the Draper Expert ratchets and a lot of others, so you would have to probably undo the screws and remove that back and lubricate it that way and then put it back together, or lubricate it when you clean it out, but otherwise it seems a nice enough ratchet. Also it's a good thing that I do have one that's not only a longer one for better leverage, well that one's a shorter one, but I've also got one with a finer tooth count and one with a slightly coarser tooth count for the like the more day-to-day main use. But when that time comes when you need that, you're in a tight spot and you need that you haven't got much room to manoeuvre. There's the one with the 75 teeth there. So usually the list price of this is they got it there. They got the list of the top one. The list price is $35.99, but I managed to pick this up for about 19 pounds. So I got kind of a good deal on this one. There's not much other information on here about this ratchet, where it's made or anything like that. So I can only assume that there's no made in England printed on there. That it's possibly an import that's been stamped. And again, I don't know whether the Hallmark, the Britool Hallmark range, is built by the same people, Facom and Stanley Mac, as the Britool Expert range, or whether that's now a separate company or not, I don't know. And whether the warranty on it or anything like that will be honoured and things like that. I really don't know. There's not much information on that part of things, which is another thing I find strange. Which is another thing that's making me wonder: is this just the top of the quality pile of old stocks that people are selling from the old Britool before Facom acquired the company? So I'm not quite sure about that, but there does seem to be other products that appear that look like it's that looks like it's still a company that's operating with new products coming out. So that's one side of the coin. Then if I can get a better you've got the mark of skill there on the Britool logo, or the Britool Hallmark logo anyway there. And so that's that ratchet, the SR180 from Britool Hallmark.